Okay, let's see if this works. Figured I'd try out doing a live show, um, just to see if I can, throw something out there. People often ask me if I'd ever do a live, just to see some of the process I do when I'm cleaning up some of these books. Here I have the back cover of a NEC book, and I'm going to marry this to something. But I think I just want to do just a simple cleanup on it, and it's probably going to be a pretty boring video. Like I said, this is just kind of a practice run to see if I can do a live show. So yeah, if you've joined in, thanks for joining, and not sure if I'm going to be saying a whole lot. I probably should have some music playing in the background or something, but all right. Music playing in the back. All right, so got these Pentel erasers that I use, and kind of to keep them clean, I kind of cut them a little bit. So something that uh, Kenny Sanderson does. I'll kind of cut his eraser to get a good clean edge. And we have a backing board here just to put our hands on. Make sure your hands are nice and dry and clean, and just lightly going over this cover here, and just doing a pass. Every now and then you check the eraser to see if you're getting up any grime, and I am a little bit. But at 720p, you're probably not going to be able to see a whole lot. Use the big hammer. How you doing, Stepo? All right. So, like I said, not anything a whole interesting here, but I recently got a book that it's an Archie book that Mark at Mark's Issues with Archie sent me. Wanted me to look at it and see if I could do some little repairs on it. As people know, I also have issues with Archie books. That is, I don't like Archie, but I like Mark. So I told him I'd look at it. And this back cover is pretty dirty. So what's kind of nice about cutting it like this, you can get into like little tiny spaces without hitting the ink too much. Some people use the Pentel right over the colored areas or some of the black inks and whatnot. And it's kind of up to your what you think is going to work or not. Sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. You can kind of tell which books the inks are barely holding on to and which aren't. And the CC book seems to be holding on to the inks pretty well. I'm also working on a book for Mike at Chocolates Comics. It's a Out of This World book, and it's almost finished. I am cleaning up the last wraps, the inner wraps. I leaf cast the cover, lost a little bit of color on the front cover, which I'm not super happy with. I'm always kind of second guessing myself what I could have done differently to reduce the amount of color loss, but sometimes it's just inevitable. I think I lost a little bit of the cover here, unfortunately. You got to be really careful because little bits sometimes come up. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in this little cup here where I have other little bits that I can leaf cast back on later. But anyhow, the inner wraps actually came out really well. Thanks, library. The master at work, man. I need to. Thank you. Well, there are some people out there who are doing a lot better work than I am. Don Carter was actually on Mike Night Tiger's live show last night, and not only does he have a great collection of books, but he is phenomenal. He's a really good conservator. He really knows what he's doing, and he's practicing a lot of the techniques that um, Professor Peter Olachi kind of has brought over from the paper conservation world into the comic book conservation world. He does a lot of trial testing, I guess you could say, and he's very, very, very good at what he does, in my opinion. But he doesn't have a full YouTube channel. I kind of encouraged him to do something like that today, and he said he was kind of happy where he's at. So I totally get it. You know, this whole live thing is not for everybody, or the whole video thing. But in my opinion, the more the merrier. And like I said, this is probably going to be a little boring. It's not anything super fascinating. Jerry the Jitterbug, he kind of he's very hyper aware of keeping his audience entertained, and he's always like, I hope I'm not boring anyone. And I'm like, no, definitely not. Like, I find him constantly amazing. I could watch him do this all day. And when you're doing it, there is something kind of meditative about it, I guess. Kind of zen, I guess. You kind of get into a zone, and that's kind of also where you get into accidents sometimes if you're not too careful. You have to be kind of conscious of what you're doing. I've kind of broken off pieces or folded things over or whatnot doing that. So it's these edges you got to be extremely careful with. Oftentimes you'll see people holding the paper kind of like so in order to like make sure that the paper doesn't bind up on them when they're hitting the edges. And I sometimes, you know, if you feel like all these little rips here, if it seems really kind of hard to hit without bending any paper up, yeah, it's not, you know, it's okay to forego it. These books and keep them as yeah, it's not a bad idea, library. There are, you know, the Facebook Conservation Community Facebook page is growing leaps and bounds. So I'm assuming more and more people will be getting into this over time. You know, for a while it was mostly just Jerry doing it on camera at least, and then of course Paul and Dr. Paul and Captain Larry and Shelby eventually, you know, jumped into the fray. But you know, like I said, YouTube's not for everybody, and not everyone, I spend more time editing videos than I do working on the books, I mean, as far as man hours. A lot of times when I'm working on books, a lot of my time is spent, I have a little piece flipped over here. I'm not sure if you can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, I guess you can. Um, just kind of fold this back over very easily, delicately that is. I should have thrown this into the humidification tank for a little bit before I worked on it, but so looks like I'll be able to get away with this. I think I'll be trimming this up a little bit more anyways before I marry it. What was I saying? Yeah, the whole YouTube thing is, it burns people out, and yeah, and it takes me forever, like the man hours to edit. It takes a lot of time. A lot of my time working on the books is waiting for things to dry. I really should be working on multiple books at the same time, but I don't like doing that. I like concentrating, putting my full concentration on just one book at a time. Just that way I don't get confused with wraps everywhere, uh, and I don't know. Each book comes with its own difficulties, and I don't need that on my mind. I don't need them. I don't need the problems of book A to be on my head or shoulders, whatever. While I'm working on book B. And so that's why I don't work on more than one at a time. But I'm certain the pros do. I'm certain people like Phil at Phantom Comic Studios. I'm sure he does. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we got a smaller eraser here. I don't like using this one as much though. The eraser is a little too hard, but allows you to get into much tighter spaces. I don't know how much of this is going to come off because it's not so much dirt as it is ink that's smudged. The ink on these inner parts of the covers are extremely smudgeable. And so you have to be really careful when you're working on them. And I'm going to go back over all this with a dry cleaning pad. So how the dry cleaning pad works is you don't rub the, well, at least for comic book conservation. I hear it's different for drafting, which is what these were originally intended for. I think on drafting, you actually use the cloth eraser itself. But with comic book conservation, what you do is, might as well just show you. Basically, you sprinkle the eraser crumbs. All these bags are filled with eraser crumbs, and you just kind of sprinkle them onto the cover. And get a nice little, it's like grated cheese, And then you just kind of carefully, again with dry hands, now working little circles. You can also, this is something that Kenny Sanderson does quite a bit. He will take his Pentels and he'll use the eraser crumbs to help him do a better job of really getting in there and breaking up the dirt. But so I like usually kind of working from one end of the book or cover to the other. I will be washing this cover, so this is not the only cleaning it'll get. It'll get a wet wash as well and an aqueous bath. And the aqueous bath will contain calcium hydroxide, which will help to neutralize the acidity in the paper. And then it should put a buffer of like a base into the paper so that it kind of tones down that acidity. The papers were, this paper was um, when it was manufactured with acids. I haven't tried the sprinkled eraser technique yet. I've erased dirt the standard way, very satisfying. Yeah, yeah. Left a bit of color. Yeah, that's kind of why we don't do it so often. I mean, I've seen people do it, but you do risk that, so you gotta it's a little bit more control doing it this way. The problem, of course, is that if you don't go easy with this, your fingers can easily catch on the cover and pull something up as well, especially on the edges. So I kind of avoid the edges a little bit, especially if they're broken up like they are. You can tell you're doing something because eventually the eraser crumbs start getting a little dingy looking. You're either pulling up dirt or you're pulling up ink or a little bit of both, but it does make a visual difference or a visible difference. So then I like to reuse these crumbs. I don't want to use more. It's not super expensive or nothing, but waste not, want not. Oh, what's kind of nice about using these eraser crumbs is you can kind of see where you've already moved the eraser. You do it this way. So I often, I love listening to music, but usually when I'm recording, uh, I don't get the chance to listen to music while I'm working, which kind of sucks. That's because I'm recording, and sometimes if I want to capture my own audio or whatever, you know, you wouldn't be able to hear me. Um, but I've been doing more and more, kind of like um, what was that? What's that type of video called? But anyways, like fast forwarding when I'm like doing my videos. So I'm not doing a whole lot of dialogue anyways. And so I could probably be listening to more music while I'm working, or oftentimes I will be watching a YouTube show of some sort, and usually a comic book YouTube show. Sometimes it'll be Alan's show with Steven, or it'll be uh, the Dr. Paul show, Liberty Hill Comics live, the live show. I always, watching the conservators kind of do their thing gets me inspired. Not inspired, but I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but you get kind of motivated when you're doing it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have, pretty obscure taste, so that I can definitely probably get away with some of the music I listen to. But yeah, yeah, even on a live thing like this, I'm not sure how much you could get away with as far as listening to music and whatnot without getting a strike. Um, Speaking of Alan, he mentioned today that this is the comic book collector geek. He's going to tone down his output a little bit, which a little sad. Especially that Monday show, which I really look forward to watching every week. But I totally get it. Like you got to, you know, you don't want to make this a job. You don't want to make it not fun. No, none of us are getting paid to do this. And so you got to do what it takes to keep yourself from feeling burnt out. And I see it all the time. I see a lot of YouTubers burning themselves out because they feel like they have to. Um, I think they're such good people. They just want to make sure that they're doing it for their audience. Oftentimes, they don't want to disappoint people, or sometimes they're doing it to get that comic book community award or whatever it is. But it's supposed to be a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. Yeah, I'm sure we'll still be. Yeah, that's right. Alan will still be doing at least 5 videos a week, if not more. Yeah, his output already was insane. I don't know how he was doing it as often as he was for as long as he was. I would not have been able to do that for sure. All right. You see how brown, or not brown, gray, these eraser crumbs are now. Granted, a lot of it is that ink that came up with it, but uh, I didn't do a perfect job as far as cleaning this, as you can see. But again, I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to do an aqueous bath with it. There's some more erasing I could do with this, of course. If you see like comic book pressers, they get mad in depth with their erasing and take hours and hours and hours of erasing. And I've gotten into some of those like zones where, a couple hours in, I'm like, man, you let the time get away from you. But oftentimes if I know that I'm going to be washing a wrap anyways, I don't get too crazy about it because Not really much need to, I don't think. It'll wash it'll get clean in the wash. Okay, let me throw this away real fast. Okay, I should have probably started with these, honestly. I usually do, but I'm gonna go back over with some makeup pads. And again, very carefully, so you don't snag the edges. Go over this. This will actually pick up any of the loose crumbs as well. You see, getting some of the darkness off of that, or there's some dirt on there from where it's picking up the crumbs as well as dirt and probably a little bit of ink. You don't want to go too hard with makeup pads, or I don't anyways. Just I go really kind of real loose. Again, especially around these edges. Sorry if I'm not making a whole lot of sense as I'm talking. I'm just trying to fill up the dead air, I guess. So I got a little bit of an edge here that's from a cover I don't want to use. So I will be trimming this. Again, because the inks are really loose on the inside of the cover, I don't like going really hard with these makeup pads because all you're doing is pulling up ink. You're not even pulling up dirt usually. All right, well, that's all I wanted to do with this cover for now. didn't take off all the grime. Like I said, once I go into a bath, it'll get a little shinier, I think. It's sometimes hard to tell if you've done anything at all. But usually when you do the before and after pictures, this one I didn't do before pictures because it was, it's just part of a cover. And but usually when you do before and after pictures, you can really see a difference. Hey, how are you doing, Andre? Glad you could have popped in. But yeah, just in time, actually. I think I'm going to end the stream. I just wanted to see if I could do this, just do a live here, and I'll watch it back to see what I'll have to do differently. I'll have to set up something so that you guys can see me actually doing an aqueous bath, and maybe clip a camera, like a GoPro or something, to my hat or something like that, so you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, have fun, library. Yeah, that's it. So, like I said, I just wanted to see if I could do this, and looks like it worked. So that's good. All right, you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you on some of the lives tonight. I am not getting ready to show the world my Sonic collection. No, I'm too shy. I'm too shy. Don't think the world's quite ready for that. But all right, talk to you guys later. Bye.